This is episode 6 of the Amputee Show, which is our monthly podcast, Carl, that gives us some time to do a deeper dive and a more conversational than entertainment, but still entertaining, I hope, and educational for folks who attend our webinar, Life Amplified.
Yeah.
And this is, although it's episode 6 of the Amputee Show, it's part 3 of our discussion with you on your osseointegration surgery.
Yes.
So we've got lots of questions, and there's so many important questions, some of which I gathered from our webinars that I wrote them down. So I'm going to keep my notes.
Awesome.
You know, I like to go without notes a lot of the time, for good or bad, but this time I thought we should have the notes.
And fair to say that I did sneak peek into the questions, but I only 2 minutes ago, so I'm not that prepared. It'll be real, I promise.
It'll be raw and real, and that's kind of the point of this series that we're having, is to be raw and real and honest and transparent about osseointegration surgery. And Carl, you've been very transparent. So in episode 1, we talked about the planning, the thought process behind the surgery, and your personal finances.
Yeah.
You were very transparent about that.
Yeah.
And then in episode 2, we talked about your immediate post-op experience. And we showed some videos of you the day after and the second day after and the third day after when you were on some pretty heavy medications.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was a little out of it in the first one, I think, for sure. But,
or a lot out of it.
but it was, that's what was happening. That was real.
Yeah, real and raw. And again, very transparent.
Yeah.
And when we met and we recorded the podcast, we talked about your hopes for where you would be. And we started showing folks the weight-bearing exercise that you were doing.
Correct.
And that's where we left off, was this expectation that you would have your leg, and we would be at this point talking about when you were going to start running again.
Yeah.
And some of that happened and some of it didn't.
Sure.
And so today we're going to be super transparent and talk about the good, the bad, the weeds that we went into and everything. Are you ready?
We're going to compare expectations with reality today for sure.
Okay. So are you ready for that?
Yeah.
So before we get started in that conversation, I think it'd be helpful for folks who might be new to our podcast, just to remind them of who we are. The Amputee Show is one of many things that we do at Amputee Aid. I'm Jennifer. I am the Executive Director for Amputee Aid. Carl is the founder of Amputee Aid. And Carl, if you could just talk to us a little bit about why you founded Amputee Aid and what we do.
Yeah, of course. So Amputee Aid was founded initially to help bridge the gap financially for amputees to be able to be provided with the proper and prosthetic device they need. Helping with mental care. We're trying to just be open with the community and sharing information. It's turned into this just great organization that's been able to help and foster, basically making the community stronger.
Exactly, yes. So prosthetics are still a big part of what we do and helping folks with the financial side of things. But as you mentioned, our programs have really blossomed and expanded to being a full service. If someone is just looking for friendship, advice, help navigating the insurance process, finding resources, that's what we do for everyone.
Exactly.
And so if you are someone with limb loss or limb difference and you're looking for that kind of help, whether it's the financial side of things or the supportive services, you can reach out to us, whether you're here in Pittsburgh, where we are, or anywhere in the country. Right, Carl?
Absolutely.
So that's for all of you, but today we're talking about you.
Yes.
So I'd like to start with giving us an update on your recovery. Where are you right now? And kind of how did we get to where you are right now?
So I just, in fairness, I had a little bit of a setback for sure. So it didn't go as expected, but it was my fault. So I want to kind of dive into that quickly. But, you know, last time we talked, I was loading. I had a connector to the abutment that allowed me to stand on a scale and slowly add weight to where I was able to tolerate my full body weight. I got to that really quickly. I was able to, I think they said it would take, 4 to 8 weeks. And I think I did it in 2. And not because I was really working on it. It just came naturally and it came much quicker, which was great. I still did the exercises every day, twice a day. I still stay with the routine. It just got easier.
And if we can pause here for a moment, because for folks who might not have seen that episode yet, the weight bearing that we're talking about, that was recommended and instructed by your healthcare team. And the weight was it was a bathroom scale.
Yeah, it was a bathroom scale that basically just had the old school dowel, and I put it on a stool, a very small step stool, and then so I was able to stand with my left foot to the side and slowly stand up with. In the beginning, I used like a walker to balance myself, and I started off at 20 pounds. Yeah. That's all I could feel it. It was tingly, and you would hold that weight for about 5 seconds, and then you'd let off. Then you would do it again. So I would do that 15 times, and then I did 2 sets of those. And I did that twice a day.
And the goal was to get to your actual body weight.
At least half.
At least half.
So, okay. Yeah. And you're supposed to go up 5 pounds a day. But I don't know why. But I mean, there was days I went up 10 pounds. There was times I went up 20 pounds.
Yeah.
And as the closer I got to 100 pounds, it was larger increments. So I could definitely tell it was healing quickly. It was getting stronger fast, Okay. So I was very happy with those results. I was anxious. I couldn't wait to get the leg on, I
was going to ask you, because in your head you're thinking it was going to take several weeks, and then you see 2 weeks, and at least for me, I would be thinking, all right, let's go, next step.
Yeah, and I remember they said, hey, it's 5 weeks until the leg is even here. Okay. They had to order parts. They had to do a lot of, behind the scenes work, because these adapters or these connectors, abutments are not easy to get. They're not cheap, and there's not many of them. So they knew they had to order these parts, and they had to get everything in, make sure the adapter was correct, because this isn't a normal setup.
Yeah. Can we hold it up so people can see it as we're talking just a little bit? We'll be showing how to put this on.
This is the abutment. It's on the top part of the prosthetic. So I'll dive into that more when I actually put it on for you here in a little bit. But the idea was, I knew I had 5 weeks. So why rush it? Take your time. Right. Make sure the loading's right. Let the healing process begin. I was trying to be patient, I used a knee scooter. I used crutches. I didn't use the walker much after the first week. But essentially, I finally got ready to go get that leg. And at that point, I was exactly, 9 weeks out from actual surgery. So I was getting ready to try on the prosthetic for the first time. And the first time I walked on it, I felt pain in my knee. Not in the actual implant site, or had nothing to do with the osseointegration. The fact that I had not been on my, walking, using that leg, there was a lot of atrophy. I lost a lot of the muscle. And I think it didn't help that I was on a knee scooter.
And let's talk when you were on a knee scooter pretty regularly throughout the day.
Yes, it was main source of transportation, airports, getting to and from work, my car, the grocery store, in my house.
Yeah.
It was convenient, and I don't want to blame it on that, but I probably overdid it. And when I first put the leg on, another side effect of having osseointegration. So when you're working with your prosthetist, you need to understand that when you have a socket, you have a little more room for error, if you will.
Okay.
So there is no room for error with an osseointegration. You're direct connect to your bone structure. So if you're off, you're going to feel it in your knees, your tendons,
Literally feel it, because it's not going to a socket if you're off. The whatever it is, the pain or the slight difference is going right into your implant and into your bone.
Correct. And I mean, in a socket, you're wearing you're wearing a sleeve. You're going to have those liners. They're gel coated. They're thick. If it's a suction fit, you're going to have a lot of cushion there. So it could be a half inch either way, but you could be a little off, and you're still going to be somewhat comfortable. But with osseointegration, you can't be off even a 1/16 of an inch.
I see.
It could cause you other issues of imbalance, or in my case, tendons. So I was too tall. So my toe was too high. The leg itself was too long, and I believe the toe was also pointed in. So,
I see.
So the toe's pointed in, the toe's up, and the prosthetic itself was slightly too long
compared to your other legs. Or
combination of that caused unwanted pressure on the inside of my knee, which is where your MC is, and that's that. A lot with that and soccer.
Sure.
And I started to get, then of course, first day with a prosthetic, I wanted to keep walking, and I was using crutches to help, but overdid it, and it just progressively got worse. It got to a point where I went back to the prosthetic and said, this isn't working. Something's off. All of my research said it must be off. Now,
can I pause you there for a moment?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I'm thinking, I saw you on your first day, like I think maybe within an hour of you getting your leg.
Mm-hmm.
When you left and you felt that pain initially, did you think, maybe that's normal?
Yes.
Like you didn't really think much of it at the time.
At the time, I just assumed, well, the timing's off. I just got a molder. Maybe it was just a pinched nerve or something, and it'll go away.
Yeah, and at least from my perspective, only one as much or big, but it turned out not to be just normal kind of pain.
It got worse and worse, and that's how I realized by research showing, well, if the prosthetic's off, you're going to have pain here. And I was able to actually figure out exactly what was going on based on the pain I was having.
Can you describe that for people? Like what did the pain feel like, and where was it?
Well, it's a very sharp pain, and it was very specifically right here, which is 100% where the tendon lines up in between the two bone structures, which would be your femur and your tibia. And for the most part, what I was getting at with the prosthetist, and why did we miss it? You're standing there, and he goes, "How does that feel?
Right.
Do you feel balanced?" And to be honest, I've never felt balanced. Before I had the amputation, my right leg was longer than my left leg.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I've had these issues before.
Yeah.
So for me to stand there and say, well, I don't know, I guess it feels okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't normal for me to sit there, and I didn't know that if I would have put, if I'd have stood on a 1/2-inch piece of plywood on the left side to make it the right way, it would have felt better.
Sure.
I didn't know. We weren't sure. So basically we said, this is the best I can get based on looks, feels, and our actual measurements that we did from the knee and everything. But even that's not a perfect science. So eventually it got to a point where it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So I knew it needed to be adjusted. I couldn't get in to see my prosthetist until I think it was a Friday.
Okay.
Thursday morning it swelled up. I got scared.
And why were you scared? Was it the size of the swelling or the pain?
I didn't want to risk thinking that it was a tendon and then find out later that it might have been an infection.
Sure.
So because it was warm to the touch, it was swelling up, and I just didn't want to risk it. So I went in to get seen, and luckily it was not an infection. It was fine.
Good.
Again, the abutment, the implant, everything was great. It was simply tendonitis swelling up. So took some, anti-inflammatories and stayed off of it completely for probably 2 full days to let the swelling go down. Had another follow-up with my surgeon. He also said, this is common from my hip, basically. So now we could truly, are we off? Where are we at with this prosthetic?
Interesting.
And I was able at that point to come up with, it was 11 millimeters off.
And so how does that work? Are they measuring based on that full body scan? Is there some kind of like computerized measurement that tells you?
It was basically the computer. Don't get me. The technology was there. It showed the level. It showed everything, and it was, you could move it up and down, and you can see once it was perfectly straight what that would look like. And it was 11 millimeters.
Interesting.
So that made it much better. We were able to send that to my prosthetist, and he was able to make the adjustments to 11 millimeters. And now I have the proper prosthetic. We adjusted the toe, we adjusted the height, and now we know that we have everything set. And it was much more, almost immediate relief, if I'm being honest. So I'm wearing a brace to help with that.
Okay.
But I'm not using crutches today. I'm able to walk. I can carry things again. I was able to get my own
smoothie,
Aruba Islands. It's obviously I'm progressing and I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
But I feel like I lost 2 weeks, but I'm already probably a month ahead of most people at this stage.
Okay.
So, and I'm still healing.
We want to clarify for everyone, your healing journey will look different.
Yeah.
And I have some more questions for you about your healing journey. But I imagine, I'm just kind of putting myself back, if I were in your place, at the ER getting looked at for the swelling and hoping it's not. Tendonitis is still, but you must have been really who have had infections after their surgery and have actually had to have the implant removed. So were you a little bit relieved?
I was not a little bit relieved. I remember just like, oh, like it's fixable. This isn't an infection. This is, I just got to go get a realignment. We're good. And then of course reality set in, you have tendonitis, right?
Yeah. And did your surgeon agree that it was tendonitis? Like, was there any question about that?
Yeah. No, everybody knew what it was. And it was just inflamed and having some, it was just, I needed to stay off and let it heal.
And how was it treated? You mentioned medications, but was there any other treatment done for the tendonitis?
I had a steroid shot on Monday this week.
So warning, if you don't like shots, speed through this part of the podcast, okay? So we're going to talk about needles. Okay.
It was just like any time you get a shot, you have a little, pinch at first, but then it was instant relief, to be honest with you. So, and they did a good job of being kind and not just stabbing me with the needles.
None of this kind of overhand.
Dr. McDreamy was super cool about it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. If you don't know our reference, please watch some of our recordings on YouTube.
And he's aware that we
call him Dr. McDreamy because he is.
And he's a very good-looking young man.
And he was very kind to gift a client a free consultation for osseointegration surgery, too, which can't go without saying. Mm-hmm. Now, is there the possibility that in the future you will redevelop tendonitis? Like, is this something you need to be watching for?
I mean, no. I think I personally, because of the issues I had in the past with the leg discrepancy, I was always prone to that. So that was what I should have seen coming. Of course, how would you know until you live it? And that's why we're doing this today.
Right.
These are lived experiences and that we could share that so nobody else has to, question that. Yeah. So it's really important that that if you're going to go through, osseointegration, you have to understand that the prosthetist has to be very accurate.
Yeah.
And if you feel something while you're there, speak up. Don't wait. Don't assume. Don't do what I did and just say, well, it must be just a sore spot and it'll go away.
Yeah.
In my situation, it didn't go away, it got worse. So I should have fixed it sooner, and now I'm paying that price. I'm in pain because of that. But it's 100% avoidable. This was not something that should have happened.
Good. So it's not a normal part of the healing process, but it's certainly something that can happen. Yeah. I think there's kind of two takeaways that we can pull out of this so far. One of which is listen to your body. If it feels weird, say something. Don't feel bad about asking, is this right? Should I feel this way? Or don't assume that if there's pain that's normal.
Yeah.
And number two, be aware that tendonitis is something that could happen. And it's okay to go to the doctor and ask the questions. You don't have to be, this is not the time to be the tough guy or the tough woman and tough it out. Get it treated, because when you had it treated, as you mentioned, instant relief.
Yeah. And another thing I want to just throw out there, I always have a personal relationship with my prosthetist, okay? Mm-hmm. My first prosthetist was promoted. I'm super happy for him. He moved to Denver. Yeah. He was such a great friend and mentor when it came to these, understanding this and learning from him. And then the new prosthetist, I've only been working with him for a couple weeks prior to the, getting the surgery. And so this was one of my first interactions with him, and we worked through it together, but I just remember texting him and saying, I'm in a lot of pain, and all of my research says the prosthetic is off. Something's not right. Can we schedule a time for me to come in?
Yeah.
He texted me back immediately and said, great. Can you get here in the next hour? Like,
that's great.
This is what you need from a prosthetist. Yes. Someone who cares about their patients, that's willing to do that. He was having an admin day, and he was like, whatever it takes, come on in, let's get this right. So kudos to him, and that's what you should expect from a good prosthetist, and that's what he did for me. We got it fixed, we got it close, and then we got the x-ray, and we dialed it in even further. So it took 3 good visits to really fine-tune everything, and then we felt really confident with that leg, and I walked on it for another 4 days, and then we went in and actually got a new leg that was completely set up with new pylons. That was wonderful. So
and I want to come in a moment to talking about the leg and how the process of getting it attached actually to your implant.
Yes.
But before we go there, first, I think what you've described is a wonderful example of self-advocacy that we have been talking with our clients and our community about, where you didn't shy away from contacting or texting your prosthetist to say, I think something might be wrong, which some people might feel like, oh, I don't want to tell them they did a bad job. You've got to advocate for yourself. And to be diligent about it got you to a point where now you're not experiencing that pain.
Yeah.
On the topic of pain, and then we'll talk about the leg itself.
Yeah.
Some people would say that pain is a normal part of recovery, especially from an invasive surgery, which is what you had. So could you describe that a little bit? Was there times when you felt this is, quote, normal pain? And how would that compare to this is not normal pain? And how much was there? Was it like every day some kind of pain, or was it just when a flare-up like the tendonitis happened? Or so folks can kind of visualize, was the whole period of recovery painful in some way, or was it occasional?
It was occasional.
Okay.
I mean, when you're loading, there's some discomfort, but it was minor. And obviously pain is not a bad thing if you really think about it. That's your body's way of telling you to stop doing something. So it's, for me, when you have pain that you can't stop and you have to take medicine for it, it's time to call somebody. Yeah. But I felt, I never felt, if it wasn't for the tendonitis, I don't think I had a pain issue outside of the first 3 days out of surgery. Dealing with more from sutures and from the invasion of the, having a pretty big cut in your leg. You know what I mean? Outside of that, the healing process was way below expectation. Meaning I thought it would be worse. It was not. It was very tolerable. This is not a extremely uncomfortable surgery when it comes down to that. The truth is, I was in surgery in the morning and in a car driving home in the afternoon. It was not, it was major surgery, but it was not what I expected. I thought I'd be in more pain. I thought I'd be, irritable, those kind of things. It wasn't. It was a very normal experience from my standpoint.
Okay,
so,
right. And on the point of sensations, we have heard from other folks who have had osseointegration surgery who have said they are much more aware of temperature changes. And because you've got a metal pipe sticking, as people can see, sticking out of your leg.
I do.
So are you? First of all, have you named it? And should we name it? And then,
wow, I did not think of that, but yes, we should definitely name this thing.
Name it.
I'll let them come up with a name for it.
Okay, and then second, is it can you feel changes in temperature?
Yes,
you can.
So when it's warm, I don't feel as much. I don't think it's just your body temperature is pretty warm inside, so it's not a thing. But when it's cold, it definitely, I can tell it's radiating inside a little bit. So. But it's not uncomfortable. And for me, it feels good. I mean, I don't, it's not a discomfort if that's what you're asking, but yeah, it's definitely different.
You can notice it, but it's not like, oh, this is miserable, that kind of thing.
No, not at all.
Okay. All right. So I would like for you to walk us through, no pun intended, walk us through the process from your initial installation through the tweaking of your leg and kind of where we are at now, and maybe even show us kind of how it works.
Yeah. So I want to say that I have my old leg from when I had a socket. I asked them I wanted to keep it. It's a little more, it has more energy, has a lot of flex to it, but it has no give to the left or the right. Okay. So it can be a little awkward if you're trying to navigate something side to side or something. But if you're moving in a forward direction, it's very comfortable. And I wanted to have that backup because you never know. So I wanted to try to repurpose that leg. So that's the first one we worked with. And I did not bring it with me today, unfortunately, but it's the same brand as this leg, but this one has a little more components to it. Okay. But outside of that was the first thing we did. We took that leg, we attached the abutment onto it so that it can connect. We made sure the height was good. That took a lot of adjusting and a lot of playing around, measuring, and it was about a 2-hour meeting with the prosthetist. And then after that, I came back, and the second time he was able to get it where he thought it needed to be, put it on, started walking and with crutches, with walkers, with their guide rails and he was watching. He was trying to see what else he could do to adjust, so he could tell if the toe was pointed out too far, or not far enough. He was monitoring my gait. I'm sorry, I'm having some.
Did we lose your mic?
Yeah, that might be me. So he was basically trying to make subtle adjustments there on the spot. Okay, stand up. Let me see you. And he's holding my hips. He wanted to look at, he put a laser on me. He was doing everything he could.
I was going to ask you if the measurements were manual, digital, or both.
Everything, both.
Everything, okay.
They used every tool they had to try to get it perfect. And it's difficult, when you're, amputees, nothing's perfect, so when we finally, were able to get to a point where we thought it was comfortable, that's when I started saying, man, my knee hurts, and they're like, oh, are you having some knee problems? And I said, yeah, it's feeling a little sore, but it's probably nothing, So I just worked through it. And when we got to a point, we thought everything was good. Well, when I left, it was fine that day. It seemed okay. The next morning I woke up, it was really stiff. Okay. And then I overdid it again, right? So then going back, but what you'll see, and it's probably hard to see on here, but so you have this pylon here. Okay. And this is how you get your height adjustments and everything. And then you have spacers and shims that are higher in the back. But and then this is just the abutment that attaches to my implant. Okay. But there are adjustments on sides of this that allow you to pull the toe up or push it down. So when you're talking to your prosthetic, he's asking you like, hey, when you're standing there, do you feel like you're falling forward? Adjusting it in and out so that you're not, you don't want to be kind of a bow-legged, walking around. So you'll wear your shoe out or something, but also put pressure on your tendons. And then obviously the height had to be right. The way this comes out at the angle it's at, we couldn't change that. It is what it is, the way I stood. So he had to make sure the angle coming into the abutment was accurate. So there was a lot going on. And every time you make an adjustment this way or forward, it could, if you go forward, you just messed up with the height. So it can get very challenging for the prosthetist. So, and then that's what ended up happening. We were off, and it doesn't have to be a lot. But it took us 3 full visits to the point where we were within 1 millimeter, which is what you're shooting for. And that's where we're at today. I have 2 now. And the difference between the one I did not bring in is the foot itself shows this. This is kind of a flex bar that comes around. The other one is taller. It comes up higher, and it does not have the XTS. Okay. So the XTS is like an ankle. It allows me to have more torque and more give. Okay. So it's a more comfortable step, especially if you're on uneven ground. Got it. Whereas the other one, if I'm on uneven ground, I feel it. I can tell it's a little walky, and it's harder for me to walk. But if you're walking on flat surface, going through an airport, if you're going to do a long walk in something that is going to be relatively flat, the other leg is going to give you more energy and a little more cushion. Got it. So.
Now, you also have on the table next to you a brace. Can you tell us why you have that brace and when you were using it?
So, sure. So, I have a sock that I wear under the brace, which is really just, for me, probably cosmetic. It's winter. You put a little sleeve over, like you talked about, it radiates some cold. So, that helps a little bit. And then this is a brace that they gave me. This is just helping to give me a little more stability in the knee. It has nothing to do with the surgery. This is just helping me, when your ACL or your MCL is inflamed or it kind of gives you a tendency to have your knee could give out, or it just makes it feel a little wobbly, and this just allows you to have a little more tension on that, and it's a brace to keep it sturdier.
Now, is this something you would expect to wear every day, or just on an as-needed basis, or while you're recovering from tendonitis?
Yeah, just recovering from the tendon that's inflamed. This helps keep that pressure off of it. So plus, I don't want to fall because if it did give out or what if it did tear or if I tripped and I try to catch myself, this could prevent me from getting more injured. Okay. I believe I'll probably wear this for another week or two.
Okay.
And right now, I'm only wearing it when I know I'm walking somewhere more than, through the house or something.
Got it.
But,
okay.
It's not uncomfortable. It's actually, it has gel on the knee and it's has some nice vents in the back. So it's not hot. It's not tight or anything. It's actually really somewhat comfortable. So.
Did your surgeon give that to you or the ER or who?
Yes, this was given to me through my provider. Yeah.
Your provider. Now, could you give us a demo? Could you kind of put everything together and show us how it works?
I am. And you can get this on Amazon, though.
Okay.
I do know that because they have the same brand, same everything. It's super comfortable. It's Ninka is the brand. So anyway, so I'm going to put this on so you can see. This is what they would call a cotton shrinker. Okay. So anybody who has a residual limb knows what these are. They wear them at night. It just keeps your leg from swelling or having water weight. So in the morning you get up, your prosthetic still fits the same as when you went to bed. Right. So I bought them because I like the comfort of having that on because I was used to wearing them. So do I need it? No. And I purposely sat here today so you could see
what the implant looks like into your skin.
Yeah. So basically, you saw that I have an abutment coming out of my residual limb. Yeah. I'm now wearing a sock over it. It's not necessary, but for me, it's a personal choice, and I don't mind it. And it's a little more aesthetic if you're wearing shorts or even if you're wearing pants. It kind of keeps things from keeping anything from getting inside.
Sure.
Then I just put this over it. But again, this is temporary. I don't plan to wear this forever. It's simple to don.
There you go.
Now, for the most intense move.
The big part is putting on the leg.
We always talk about pros and cons.
Yes.
Okay. This is probably going to be the best. So from a pro standpoint, there's no socket, there's no liner, there's no nothing. Just basically, if it was summertime or even now here in the winter, you don't need any of this. I don't need a sock. I don't need this knee brace. But I mean, this basically slides on and you tighten it.
And that looks like an Allen wrench style kind of.
It is a torque wrench. Size 30. You can buy anywhere in the hardware store. Sorry. And that's pretty much it.
Interesting.
I am on.
There you go.
So now, tip. So I bought like 10 of these, and they're probably $1. Right? Okay. Because you lose them.
Yes.
And I have them strategically placed all throughout my office, all throughout my house, because I will never lose one. Or I don't know, you get up and walk into a room and you're like, oh, I left the key.
Right.
I'm not going to, I try to keep one in my pocket or whatever. I have one on my keychain. That's just a small tool. It's nothing. It's like a little Allen wrench, but it's a size 30 torque wrench is what it really is.
I'm thinking of all those people who you might not have these, but maybe you'll get one. Those little chapstick holders, they're like neoprene kind of pouches, and you put your chapstick on there, and then you put it on your keychain. Yeah. Put that in there, so you never lose it.
Yeah, I had a friend who's a machinist. He actually drilled a small hole through it, so I was able to put it on a keychain.
There you go.
There's always a way.
So that's it. So instead of having the socket, the liner, if you have a suction socket, or if you have there's all different kind of connections and supplies and things. And prepping the leg, you're just connecting right to your prosthetic itself. Correct.
Nice. And I have a few more things I want to throw out there because I know we're getting ready to talk about travel and going through the airport and these things. So if you travel and you're an amputee, you got to carry a lot of stuff. You're carrying supplies, whatever. When you're an OI guy, that's what we call it now. Once you're an OI guy, you're able. Just to be clear, this is completely waterproof. So I don't need a water leg. I don't need any kind of different transitions. I can get in the shower with this, take the shoe off, and it's fine. But even more importantly, when you're talking about traveling, and before I had a socket, so this was about that tall. So that doesn't fit in carry-on luggage. Right. You have to check your stuff almost every time you travel. If you have a second leg, your running leg, your water leg, your regular, whatever it happens to be, your supplies, your extra liners, your cleaners, things that you have to travel with. I travel That doesn't take up nearly as much room. It fits in my backpack, and I believe you told me if I have a medical tag,
yes,
I can carry it with me, and nobody's going to question it. And
that's smaller than my purse, honestly, and I can get my purse on a plane, so you can take.
If the shoe wasn't on there, trust me, it is much smaller. Yeah, and I'm able to, travel is much more convenient. And another thing to point out is, I had a longer torque key, right? It was about 6 inches long and had a handle, so it was a T handle.
Yes.
And I had it in my bag, and nobody's checked. I mean, I think the government was shut down, right? So TSA was struggling, maybe. I don't know. But last Monday, I went to New York for my checkup.
Yes.
And I got stopped like it was a weapon, Like the lady was holding it up like, what is this?
Oh, because you don't see those every day. It does kind of look like a weapon.
I'm pretty sure any other person on the planet, they would have said, yeah, you're not getting this back. You're not taking, because I was like, yeah, I can see, getting somebody stabbed with that.
It's like a mini brass knuckle kind of thing. Yeah.
Of course, I said, well, that's the only way I can take my leg off. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Here you go. Hand it back. Like, I could have been a box cutter. She probably would have handed it back to me I think, at that point. So
we're not giving anybody any ideas, by the way. But you're right, because that's not something you see every day. Whereas this, I mean, how many people have those from furniture that they've bought from IKEA all over the place? That looks more familiar to people.
Right.
Interesting. Now, you mentioned traveling to New York, so let's talk about that a little bit, because your situation is somewhat unique in that your surgeon, that healthcare team is in New York.
Yeah.
Your prosthetist and that team is here in Pennsylvania.
Right.
So could you remind everyone about why that is, and then also talk about how those two teams communicate with each other?
I mean, it was a little arduous, good coordinating, but it wasn't that difficult. I will say this, though. I had the option of using their prosthetist in New York. They have a great one. They do everything in-house. So if I chose to work with that team from start to finish, I would have. It was an option. But I want to go back and say, from my standpoint, though, I was paying out of pocket. So I did use my provider here as much as I could. Sometimes it's just certain x-rays, blood work, things that were free here that would have cost me money there. And it wasn't something it wasn't a big deal. They could send the records up there when they were done. What I did see, though, was they definitely have some state-of-the-art equipment in New York. They're more familiar with this. Do I think confidence? I extremely professional, extremely knowledgeable, and just so efficient.
Yeah.
It was my choice to make it harder and add logistics because of my financial ability. Yeah.
And some of your appointments were also virtual, right?
Yeah, I had several virtual meetings just because they made sense. It was easier, and just had questions or concerns. They always made time for me. Yeah.
So, and I think that's a takeaway for folks is if you are considering the surgery and you do have to travel to another state for it, there is a virtual option for those consultations.
Yeah.
I think even when you were experiencing that pain and thought it might have been tendonitis, I believe I overheard you talking to Dr. McDreamy on the phone even, right? Instead of having to go all the way to New York to have that looked at, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Upset.
Yeah. So did it feel weird to have virtual appointments with your doctor?
Not at all. We made it very easy. I mean, he could see everything I was showing on my leg. I told him, hey, this is where it hurts. He's like, I understand. It actually gave him a chance to prepare. So when I got up there, he already had, a pretty good idea of what he needed to do that day.
Yeah.
Had the x-ray set up, had the steroid shot prepared, ready to go. Like, it was just very convenient once I got there.
Yeah.
And again, if you're thinking OI and you're below the knee, unless you live in Denver, you're going to have to try.
Yeah.
Now, there are many more opportunities for you to get OI, surgery locally, but below the knee is going to be a little more challenging. But definitely, it's available, and every day it's getting better. They're getting more. I think one of the conversations we had in the past was: is there a weight standard?
A weight limit.
There used to be only one type of connector, which is really where the weight comes in.
Sure.
The connection has to be strong. and now they're getting better with that. So they're going heavier and doing those things.
Yeah.
So I consultation. Really, you never know,
Right.
So,
Even within a couple of months, we've heard of different,
Yeah.
developments, different manufacturers for the connector for that weight reason, as you had referenced.
Yeah.
And so I think a takeaway here for folks is you do not have to be a resident of New York or Colorado if you
No.
are below the knee. And if you're wondering why that is that we're talking about below the knee and distinguishing that, it has to do with FDA approvals at this time. So just, we're not saying this is like super rare and still under studies. There are studies about below the knee osseointegration surgery. It's always best to talk to a doctor and get a consultation. And you can have that consultation whether you're a California resident or a Michigan resident or in New York or Colorado. Right. Now, you mentioned that you are about 2 weeks behind where you thought you would be.
Yeah. I mean, yesterday was the first crutches.
Okay.
So I didn't believe I would need crutches 2 weeks ago. When I think I was originally supposed to have my leg November 4th.
Okay. Yeah.
And today is November
20th. So
November 20th.
60 days.
So-
16 days.
So on the 18th is the first day I walked without crutches. And I thought I'd be walking without crutches on the 4th.
So how did you deal with that? Because I mean, for me, I was super excited about the surgery for
Yeah.
you and seeing how quickly you would recover, and was happy for you. And I'd imagine you'd be even happier for yourself.
Yeah.
So was there a part of you that kind of felt like disappointed, or even had some mental health issues? Like, man, I'm not as healthy as I thought I was, or discouragement. Like, how did you deal with that?
I'm going to go ahead and go out on a limb here and
Okay.
say, as an amputee, we are very used to setbacks.
Good point.
We understand you. If you're not a patient person, I am not. Anybody knows me knows I am not a patient person.
No comment.
So you learn that setbacks are part of being an amputee.
Okay.
Things happen. Just when you think things are going well, you lose 10 pounds and suddenly something doesn't fit right.
Right.
You gain 10 pounds and something doesn't fit right. Like, you have to be vigilant all the time, and you have to be prepared for setbacks. And not just a setback because, in my personal situation, I have a bad right leg, which means you have to really protect your left leg. Right.
Right.
It could be a setback because you twist your other ankle. You could go back to crutches at any moment.
Yeah.
And that's always on your mind. You're careful. You have to be prudent in the activities that you pursue. So for me, yes, my expectation, my goals, I didn't meet them.
I see.
But I'm not beating myself over it.
No.
I just set goals for myself.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with it. I get it. It's I'm allowing my body to be patient, and I'm listening to what it's telling me, which is it's okay, slow down.
Yeah, and I think that's true in life. Not everything is a straight path from A to B. Sometimes it's A, then like A and a half, right? And then a little bit more of a loop, and then you're back.
Yeah, but the resilience of the amputee community is incredible.
Yeah.
Another thing I would like to point out is you take things for granted to a certain extent, even as an amputee, but I can't tell you how nice it is so I was able to go get a drink and carry it myself. When you have crutches, you're crutching. You're not carrying anything.
Yeah.
It felt good, to be able to, even if it wasn't perfect and I'm walking with a brace, it felt the last 2 days have just been great.
You regained some of that independence.
Regardless of being in pain, I'm going about business of my own. I don't need help. I'm able to do it, and it does feel good. So to me, that's progress, and I'm really excited to get this knee brace off, and I'm really slowly getting back to normal. And there's one more big challenge coming up, which is running. So.
Right, that's what I was going to ask you, which is what are the goals that you have set for yourself now? And knowing what you know, are you going to be a little bit more flexible on when those goals will be accomplished?
I'm being flexible, but the goal has always been I want to run in January.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I'm going to run miles here. I'm saying I want a running leg, and I want to be able to go for a run, and maybe it's only the first time I run, and it might
Sure.
be January 31st. I'm not sure yet, but my goal was to run in January. So
Okay.
we'll see how it goes. You know, we'll keep the updates coming.
So what do we need to do to get to that point? Are there going to be more appointments with your surgeon or your prosthetist before then?
I would think at this point, most of my appointments are going to be virtual.
Got it.
And then we're basically just watching the healing process. Running is just not something that you should shoot for with an OI.
Sure.
All right. Running isn't typical for osseointegration. But, you know, people have run marathons with OI and everything. I don't believe that's going to be me. I like to do the fun stuff, like a 5K, raising some money and doing something fun and then having a beer afterwards.
Exactly.
But for me, running is fun. I appreciate it. I enjoy it. So I want to get back to doing that. But 2 to 5 miles is all I'm looking to get into me. So I believe I'll be running in January. But it's just part of that path. And I think what's going to happen between now and then is just allowing it to heal, listening to my body, getting a lot better at walking. and I'm going to be back at the prosthetist to get that taken care of. So I go back so not Thanksgiving because it's a short week. The following week I go back. I have one more leg that I'm working on. It's like a shower leg or for swimming. So I plan to get back into the pool in December. So that's another goal. Actually, I'm gonna swim this weekend. So
are you? Should we not let your doctors know that? Are you allowed to do that right now?
When does this go live? So I actually bought a cover, so I'm gonna seal it. I'm not gonna risk that, but I'm showering. It's healed. I'm not getting in a river or a dirty lake. It's awfully cold outside, but I am gonna get into a chlorinated indoor pool and do some laps this weekend.
How exciting! You must be looking forward to that.
I am so looking forward to it. And thanks to one of our viewers, I was able to find the it's a cover that goes over your prosthetic. And then it has suction, so it seals it. And I actually got 2 of them. So I'm ready to go.
And you got that right on Amazon, didn't you? Or did you have to buy it through your clinic?
No, I had to go to a specific website for that product that she shared with us.
We'll include it with our recording so folks can see if they're interested in that.
Yeah, and I will send you a photo this weekend once I get it.
We're going to share it. Yeah. We are definitely going to share it. So after this period of healing, tell us a series of checkups that you have to have as someone with osseointegration surgery, or is it just the normal course of checkups that any amputee would have?
I think it's the normal course of checkups. Now, I'm still checking in with my surgeon. Because we're still, in his mind, we're going to continue to do that for 6 months. So my next meeting with him is December 20th, I believe. So I believe it was 6 weeks. And it's virtual, and it might be our last conversation as far as just reviewing that it's healed and that everything's going well, and I don't need any further consultations.
So sitting here today and looking back on this experience, what is the thing that surprised you the most?
The biggest surprise was with 2 things. One was that it was not as invasive as I thought. The pain was nowhere near as bad as the amputation itself. The healing went well. And I was very happy with that. So beyond ecstatic with that. And then, of course, not knowing or understanding the difference between getting the prosthetist to understand how significant 1 millimeter means. That was shocking. Everybody thinks it's very precise, but you can be off a little bit, and it does. Every amputee will tell you, like, my socket's not fitting right. You go in, you make adjustments, you gain weight, you lose weight. There's still some play there that you can make adjustments and make it comfortable even at home without seeing a prosthetist. But with this, you are really going to have to rely on your prosthetist. And then, but here's the good news: once you get it right, you're set.
You're set.
Yep.
You're set. So, is it safe to say you would have gotten the surgery knowing what you know today?
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And but we'll see how the running goes.
I was going to say, while we're kind of closing out on our session today, is there anything else that you want folks to know about your experience or about things that they should think about or take into consideration if they're interested in osseointegration surgery?
This is going to sound a little selfish. I'm going to say the more people thinking about OI and talking about OI and getting into this osseointegration, I think it's good for the community. I really think there's not enough information on this. I think this is a really good opportunity for amputees, and we have to do more here in the States. It's too new. Not enough people know about it. Not enough people are talking about it, and the people and the good people like at HSS that do this, the surgeons, they're the only voice that are saying this is a great opportunity. And a lot of people, I didn't even know it existed until I stumbled on it while doing some research. And I just can't begin to tell you, I don't think I could ever go back to a socket.
Interesting.
I'm very happy with it.
Yeah. And we've heard many people who have gone through the surgery give the same testimonial. And we've also heard some folks say that it didn't work out for them. They experienced an infection, had to have a removal. So we want to be mindful of that. But for you, this has been a positive experience, it sounds like.
Very much so.
So do you think maybe in a few months after you've done the swimming and the running, and don't worry about how long you run, you're still going faster than everybody on the couch, right?
That's right.
Do you think maybe we can have a final session, a part 4?
Oh, I would love that.
Yeah.
And I know we're definitely going to do that. And that's what the goal here is, to show people that OI is no different than having a socket. You can still do the activities you want. There's a lot of misconceptions, but your life could change. It's going to be different, but it's an opportunity. It's definitely another piece that you could do if you're having problems with your liner or with your sockets. This is something you can consider. And I think what I meant by more people need to look into it is we need that lobbying. The more people that are asking questions and pushing for this, the better it will be for everybody, because today it's hard. There's only 2 places to do it. And it's just because it's so unknown.
Yeah.
So how do we make it known? We talk about it. And we get people talking about it. And I think that's what we need to do.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing this part of your journey with us and being transparent again. It's not always easy to get on the internet and tell people. And so with us.
Of course.
Our viewers, if you're interested in parts 1 and part 2, you can stay right on our YouTube page and you'll see those episodes where we talk about the planning session, the financial side of things, and then that immediate post-op situation, including the funny videos. And some of it will make you laugh, but hopefully all of it will make you think about whether this is right for you. If you are interested in learning more and you're not sure how to get started, contact us at Amputee Aid, info@amputee-aid.com. You can also go to our website and click the little blue Get Help button at www.amputee-aid.com. We'd love to talk to you and get you connected with Dr. McDreamy or anybody else who's appropriate to you, and we can get you the information so that you can make the best decision for you. Carl, it sounds like this was the best decision for you so far. It was. Great. Yes. Well, until next time, everyone, I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening to another session of The Amputee Show, brought to you by